courtyard of Dublin Castle here, okay, the second courtyard. Our main point of interest here is the record tower over here behind us, alright? It says the only original part of Dublin Castle still left standing, dating from 1230. Originally built like the Tower of London as a jail. Now it's just the tower itself. The chapel beside it was added on many years later, okay? This was the Lord Lieutenant's private chapel. The Lord Lieutenant was the royal representative here in Ireland, like the Governor of Ireland. So this is the private chapel of the Lord Lieutenant. The record tower is what we're going to talk about. Originally built, as I said, like the Tower of London as a jail. The majority of the walls in this building are up to 4.5 meters thick. 4.5 meters thick. For those of you still working on the old currency, it's about 17 and a half feet thick. Okay? Stand yourself locked up in here, kicking your way out through the walls, definitely not an option. In 1587, a series of unfortunate events, and it has to be said to a certain degree his own stupidity. A man called Red Hugh O'Donnell found himself locked up here in the tower. Now, Red Hugh was the son of the High King of Tyrconnell in the north of the country. One day, Red Hugh and a friend of his, they're out for a walk. They're walking by the river right by their settlement. A boat comes into view, sails over, the boat lands right beside the settlement. This boat is filled with casks of wine. Red Hugh and his friends, they approach the boat. Sirs, they say to the nice English crew on board, sirs, can we buy some of your lovely wine? The wine is not for sale, chaps, they're told. However, why don't you come aboard and have a drink with us? Well, why not? Why not? Red Hugh and his friend, they get on the boat. Goblet of wine, another goblet of wine, more goblets of wine, late into the night and most of the next day, having a drink with these guys, okay? A very civilized scene. The Irish, the English, sitting down, having a drink, discussing the issues of the day. Lovely, civilized scene. 2 days later, Red Hugh O'Donnell wakes with the worst hangover in recorded history. His hangover is not helped by the fact that when he opens his eyes, what he sees is the inside of the cell that he is locked in the record tower. He is being the victim of a British plot. Now, the whole idea behind this plot, many of these families in the north of Ireland at the time are fermenting rebellion against the British. The idea the British have is they will kidnap many of the sons of these royal families and imprison them, hold them for ransom, use them as bargaining chips, try and quell any rebellion that's going to take place in the north of the country. So that is why Red Hugh finds himself locked up in here in 1587. For 5 years he's in the tower with no prospect of escape. And then in 1592, two old friends of his from a neighbouring clan in the north of the country, Art O'Neill and Rory O'Neill, they're sitting down by the fire, they're having a couple of drinks and they're feeling great. They come up with a plan. We're going to go to Dublin and we're going to bust our friend out of jail. This is the idea they have. They disguise themselves, they get down to Dublin, they make their way into the tower and they find where Hugh is locked up. And they do just that. They bust him out of jail. And when they do, they head for the basement of the record tower and they start to dig down. Now, underneath the whole complex of Dublin Castle to this very day runs a river called the River Poddle. Poddle is subterranean to about half a mile beyond the old medieval city wall. So the guys dig down, they find the river, they follow the river out, it's above ground outside the old medieval city, they're free. They head south to County Wicklow, a mountainous region just south of Dublin. They head here to hide out. Unfortunately, they do this in the middle of winter, dressed in nothing but the prison-issue sackcloth and bare feet that they've disguised themselves in. One of the O'Neill brothers dies from the cold. Red Hugh O'Donnell himself loses a number of toes to frostbite. Finally, months later, 2 survivors make their way back to their homeland in the north. Immediately, they start to work on a plan, okay? Now at this time, Spain is also at war with Britain, okay? So the Spanish are contacted by the Irish rebels. The idea is the Spanish will send an armada, they will join together with the warring families in the north, and together they will drive the English out of Ireland. An excellent plan, an excellent plan. However, unfortunately, our Spanish friends arrived in the wrong place. 2 weeks late. Cultural stereotypes? Come on in. Alright? The Spanish arrived late and in the wrong place. They arrived in Kinsale, County Cork, southern tip of Ireland. So the Spanish are in the south, the warring families, the Irish rebels are in the north, and here in Dublin, in the centre of the country, is where the British Army are based. The British head south. They intercept the Spanish. The Spanish surrender, the Spanish leave. Rebellion is over before it even starts. This gives rise to something known here as the flight of the Earls. Earls, the sons of the royal families. Many of these guys decide they're going to leave Ireland. They're going to head for mainland Europe. And there, they're going to spread propaganda, they're going to try and raise money. And ultimately, they're going to try and raise a mercenary army to come back and take on the British. And none of this ever comes to pass, right? And the vast majority of these guys, they never set foot in their homeland again. So a number of years later, our hero, Red Hugh O'Donnell, he's sitting in a tavern in Rome, drowning his sorrows, thinking about what might have been, thinking about the old country that he's never going to see again. Hugh is approached by a very well-spoken English gentleman who says to him, "Sir, can I buy you a drink?" Now, Red Hugh O'Donnell was a great leader of men, right? He was a great propagandist. Unfortunately, he was not the sharpest knife in the drawer, alright? The lights are on, but the house is empty. The last time Hugh accepted wine from an English gentleman, it cost him 7 toes to frostbite and 5 years locked in the record tower. So with this fresh in his memory, Hugh says, "Sir, I would be honoured to have a drink." Honoured. The wine is produced, Hugh drinks it down and falls down dead, poisoned by agents of the British Crown. The end of our hero, Red Hugh O'Donnell, the only person who ever escaped here in the record tower here in Dublin Castle, okay? A sad and sorry end for a very great man. If anybody has a violin, I will play you the lament of Red Hugh O'Donnell. It's a mournful, mournful thing. You will all be crying by the end of it. So this is the second courtyard, guys. We're going to head from here around the back. We're going to go around to the Dublin Garden. We're going to talk about how Dublin got its name. We're going to talk about the Chester Beatty Library, one of the cultural jewels here in Dublin City. Guys, where we are now is known as the Dublin Garden. The Dublin Garden. And it's where the city gets its name from, okay? Now back in Viking times, 9th, 10th, 11th century, this area here was a natural harbour. The River Liffey would have come quite closer than it does today. So this area here was a natural harbour. Now we have it written in the old Viking annals from the 10th century. When the Vikings were sailing in here, the first view they got of Right. The first view the Vikings got of the whole area, the place shimmered like black ice. Due to the mud and the silt and the stagnant water that was here, the whole place looked black. And this is where the name comes from, Dublin. Dub, D-U-B-H, means black. Lin, L-I-N-N, means pool, the black pool. Originally, the name was just given to the harbour area. As the years went by, it spread out and it was given to the whole settlement and the whole town. Dublin, the black pool. Anglicised to Dublin, where the name of the city comes from. You okay? Got some water? Beer. I have gin in the bag if you need some gin. Very, very good medicinal. Dublin, the black pool. Now, you notice the sculpture, guys, that are still built around here, okay? They twist around, about, twist in between. If you look at this from above, it's like an old Celtic design. But the idea of this is to signify the river eels that used to thrive in this old harbour area. Because of the mud and the silt, plenty of places for them to burrow and to hide and all that kind of stuff. So this is to signify the river eels that used to thrive here. They were fished, they were sold here at the marketplace, they were seen as a delicacy by the people of the city. Okay? The river eels. And you'll notice that at intervals around, there are lights that are set in all the way around. Now behind us here are the state apartments, okay? We saw them around the front when we were in the main courtyard. You're saying state banquets and all that kind of stuff, they take place in here. Whenever that stuff is coming on, people coming from abroad, this area becomes a helicopter landing area. That's why the lights are set in all around, okay? Now if you come in here at night, it's misty and foggy and rainy and the lights are shining up and the helicopters are coming in. It looks amazing. It's like close encounters of the third kind. Really, really cool looking. So let's say there's an economic summit taking place behind us here. The IMF are flying in their helicopters. So in they will fly and they will land right down here. Our good friends from the IMF come to save the country. They will land here. The minions, the servants will run out from the state apartments. They will carry our friends from the IMF on litters, shoulder high like Roman emperors. They will be carried into the state apartments. They will be fed with the best food and the best wines money can buy. Their money, right? Hopefully they will leave a check so that we can pay the bills for the civil service for September. Once they're finished, again, shoulder high like these Roman emperors. Back out they will be carried. Back into their helicopters. Off to Greece. And then Spain, and then Portugal, and then Italy. To pick the last bits of flesh from the bones of their economies also. The vultures of the IMF, my friends. Sorry. I'm speaking at a Socialist Workers' Party meeting later on. I'm getting my things mixed up, okay? Sorry about that. Forgive the rant. So the helicopter landing area, that's the idea of the lights. So as I said, behind us the state apartments, originally known as the royal apartments. Whenever any member of the British royal family was coming to Dublin to see how their loyal subjects were getting on, they would stay behind us here in the royal apartments. Now in the late 19th century, Queen Victoria is due to visit Dublin. This gives a serious problem to the Lord Lieutenant, like the Governor of Ireland. And the problem he has is that behind where the coach house is today was look what you've done, you made me catch it now as well. Excuse me. One of the worst and most deprived slum areas in all of Dublin is right behind where the coach house is now, okay? A very, very bleak, grim existence. Barefoot kids, no sanitation, people living in shacks. Horrible, horrible way to live. Now the Lord Lieutenant knows that when Queen Victoria wakes in the morning and looks out her window, that she'd be greeted by this scene of horror, which would reflect very, very badly on the Lord Lieutenant. Make it look like he's not doing his job. So something has to be done, okay? Now originally the idea was there would be some level of sanitation, okay? Some level of housing, anything to get these people up off their knees just a little bit. However, the Lord Lieutenant decides he has a much better idea. Much better idea. Why don't we build a big wall right across the front of the slum so that nobody can see what goes on behind it? This is what he decides to do. You see the name, the coach house, and you would probably assume, reasonably enough, stables, coaches, horses. None of that was the case. It was purely built to block off the view of the slum. As the years went by, it was converted and actually became a coach house. But until that point, originally, block off the view of the slum, okay? We'll give you an insight into the attitude of the British towards particularly the urban poor in Ireland, alright? You can start off with the Statue of Justice around the front, with their back to the people, shunning the people, okay? The same kind of attitude here. Build a wall in front of them. If we can't see them, they're not there. Out of sight, out of mind. Now the attitude towards these people by many members of the British aristocracy was that the Irish are beasts of burden. They are here to work, to make money for the state and to make money for the British Crown. If they are not doing so, they're of no value whatsoever. Hence, building a big wall across the front of them so that nobody can see. So that's the coach house. And then here, guys, we have the Chester Beatty Library, one of the cultural jewels of Dublin City. Chester Beatty was an Irish-American philanthropist and a copper miner. He was known as the King of Copper, made his millions in copper mining. He was also a great, great collector. Massive, massive collection. He was into all kinds of stuff. Religious iconography, he's into military history, he's into Oriental furniture, all kinds of stuff. A massive, massive collection. In 1950, Beatty decides to donate his entire collection to the Irish state. Now only 5% of Chester Beatty's collection is housed in this building. It's an enormous collection. The other 95% is under lock and key somewhere in Ireland. It is absolutely priceless. Priceless. So on 3 floors in here you have an amazing collection. If you're into old religious iconography and religious books, until very recently, the second largest collection of the Quran in the world was housed in here in the Chester Beatty Library, alright? I had a private tour in here, a couple of us guys did about 3 or 4 weeks ago. It is an amazing collection. It is absolutely priceless and it is fantastic. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing. And at the moment, the visiting exhibition here, you just see the sign, the Art Books of Henri Matisse. First time these books and drawings have been exhibited anywhere in Europe, and it was right here in Dublin, okay? Pablo Picasso himself said, when all is said and done, there is only Matisse. Only Matisse, okay? This is a stunning exhibition, okay? If you're into any kind of art, go and check this out. You can just see thought processes going, developing through the drawings to the final work. It's a stunning, stunning collection, right? It is absolutely free, my friends. Free, gratis, free to go and see the Chester Beatty Library exhibition, okay? All our state galleries, state museums, state libraries, etc., all of them, they're connected with the state, they are free to go and see. Free. Free stuff in Dublin. Believe it, my friends, okay? I know Dublin is an expensive town, guys. Believe me, I know, right? But you do not have to spend money to go and see incredibly cool stuff in this city. They said all these libraries and galleries, all free. There's free outdoor theatre going on all the way through the summer, free music at lunchtimes in different places around. You do not have to spend money to see great, great stuff here in Dublin. I'll show you a number of these places as we go around, the National Museum and the gallery, etc. Unfortunately, guys, Monday is the day off for these people. They're open 6 days a week. 6 days a week. Half day on Sunday, and then Tuesday to Saturday, 5 until 9:30 until 5. Civil servants going to work at 9. Are you mad? 9:30 till 5 o'clock, 6 days a week. 5 days a week. That number is bad numbers. History great, numbers bad. They're all free, guys. Go and check them out. If you're going to be in Dublin for a couple of days, go and see these things. They're amazing. The collection in here is incredible. Absolutely incredible. The amount of people who work in the centre of Dublin walk past the front gate of this place to and from work every single day and never come through the gates and never check this kind of stuff out. We're really lucky in Dublin that we have places like this. We're right in the centre of town, yet you could be out in the middle of the country. You get away from all that traffic and hustle and bustle and biking shouting at you and all that kind of stuff. Really lucky to have places like this. We do very, very good places to sit down and relax in Dublin and in Ireland generally. We have no idea how to run an economy, but we know how to relax. We have our priorities in the correct order as far as I'm concerned, right? So this is the Dublin Garden, as I said. The Royal Apartment, Coach House and the Chester Beatty Library. Dublin Castle is no different, okay? So on either side of the bell tower behind us here, guys, you see these statues. It's nothing statue of fortitude. Nothing particularly unusual about this statue. It's a pretty generic statue of fortitude. Anywhere you go, that's pretty much the same. The whole idea about this is about the power, and the strength, and the prestige of the British Empire. Letting you know that you are subject to people far stronger than yourself, okay? You may have pointed in, right? man dwarfs the lion. Dwarfs the lion. Strength and the power of the empire. On the far side of the tower, you'll see the statue of Justice. There are a couple of things unusual about this straight away, okay? Probably the most obvious, here in Dublin, Justice is not blind. Now usually, when you see the statue of Justice, Justice is blindfold, or she will have the blindfold in her hand. Here, neither of those things is the case. Justice is not blind. This is deliberate, okay? This is not a mistake. Someone didn't forget to put it there. It's absolutely deliberate. Not blind here in Dublin Castle. Look at the way she's standing. She has her back to the people of the city, shunning the people of the city. Again, the message, you're inside the castle and you're one of us, or you're outside, you're one of them. Did not want to be one of them. Not a good place to be, okay? Look at the sword. Again, usually when you see a statue of Justice, the sword is hidden beneath the robes. It's there if it's needed, but it's not out. It's not drawn or aggressive. But here, bang! The sword is out. It's aggressive. Justice is aggressively against you. The final irony, the final indignity about this statue, for many, many years, the scales of justice did not balance. Okay? Anytime it rained or it snowed, scales of justice were off. Until somebody had the bright idea of drilling some holes in the bottom of the scales to let the water drain out. Until that was done, the scales of justice did not even balance here in Dublin Castle. Now, as I say, all this is absolutely deliberate, okay? These are not mistakes or oversights or anything like this. It's absolutely deliberate. We are in charge. We will decide what constitutes justice and what does not. You are subject to our will. It's all about letting you know at all times that you are second-class citizens in your own place, okay? This is what it's all about. If you were a Catholic rebel, you found yourself here as a prisoner, you're fighting for your religious freedom, justice, pretty low down on the list of the things you can expect while you're here, okay? If you're an Irish freedom fighter, you find yourself here as a prisoner of the British, justice, pretty low down on the list of what you can expect while you're here. I said, this is not particular to Dublin. All across the British Empire you see the same kind of stuff, alright? All about projecting power with big buildings and big, big statues. Big, big statues. But this, guys, is the main courtyard. You notice the flags that are all around here? These represent individual counties of Ireland. The individual counties of Ireland. And no, I am not able to identify them all. I can tell you the important ones, which is 3 from the end. It's the one with the castles on it. It's blue with 3 castles. That is the flag of Dublin. That is all you need to know. All you need to know. Right. We're going to head from here, guys. We're going to go underneath the archway into the next courtyard.
Santa. You know that you did?